Good morning, everyone. Welcome to FYI for your information. Guys, it is Tuesday, the 10th of May, 2022, and I'm here with you, Gerard Finance, joining you this morning for another packed program. We're packed with information, and it's always great to be with you, to spend the mornings with you. We look forward to this so much. I'm joining you this morning. I'm kicking it off by myself, and my two co-hosts is going to be joining pretty soon, so just hold on a little bit for them. As you join, the first thing that we ask that you do is to make sure that you do your part of sharing the information. Make sure you share the stream so other persons can benefit from the information that we have for you today. I note in the comment section, even 10 minutes before we got on air, persons were already there sending in their messages. I'm seeing you guys, Susan McDonald. I'm seeing you, Pamela Dover, Beatrice Selby, Marilyn Seafort. How are you guys doing this morning? Blessed morning to you, Beatrice. Blessed morning to you, June. I see Seymour George. Guys, let me know how you're doing, where you're joining from. Make sure you tell a friend, invite a friend, so that we can all benefit from the information that is there to be given today. I see Marva is here. Marva Walton. Good morning to you, Marva. How are you this morning? Whiskey session, you early this morning. I'm still waiting for the explanation for the name, just a little bit of info needed for me on that part. Where do you get this name from? Whiskey session, this Facebook, unique Facebook name, I can say. I see Joylyn. With us this morning. Nelson Brown. Good morning to you. Tommy Gibbs. How are you doing this morning? Pamela Dover. Hey, Pamela, noting your comment. Thank you so much. Pamela, I see Pamela Dover and then Pamela Sanchari. Both Pamelas, good morning to you all this morning. How was your night? What are you doing? What are you having for breakfast? How many of you actually heading out to work? Let us know how we are reaching you. Let me know if the quality is clear, if you hear me clearly and all of that. I see Beatrice again. And Beatrice, I'm noting these comments. I see Sherry Baskin, Grenade, watching from Barbados. Sherry, what's the weather like over there right now? Guys, it is a good morning here. A little bit of scattered showers, but okay thus far. Nothing to complain about. So we're thankful for the clear morning thus far here in Guyana. I see it's Morna Monroe. Hey Morna, good morning to you. How are you doing this morning? I've been having a lot of guys, let me tell you something. I try my best to go through my messages on social media as often as I possibly could, but sometimes it takes like a whole lot of time to go through the messages. So if you message me and I don't respond immediately, please have a little bit of patience with me and I'll get it as soon as I can, because I know a lot of persons have been sending messages. And also, if we're not Facebook friends, I think it goes to a different section. Never mind that. I'll try to get back to all my messages. For you guys that know that I've been responded, please understand that I'll be a little late at times when it comes to responding to those messages. I see Shirley Crichton is here with us this morning. Good morning to you, Shirley. How are you this morning? Is there anyone joining from Region 8, Region 9, Region 10 this morning? Let me know in the comment section where you're joining from. It's always a pleasure to have you guys. Region 1, Region 2, come through. Let us know that you're receiving us in those regions. Extremely important for us to make sure that information gets to these areas. It's critical for us to get these information out to these specific region. I see Rudy Hines, good morning, asking where is Sherrod. He's going to be here very, very soon. Just don't hold your breath, but he's going to be here very shortly. I see Tommy Gibbs, so take it easy. Yes, Tommy, I will. I see Stanislaus Washington, says he's watching from Sutherland, England. Always a pleasure to have you. I know you must make effort to actually join the program in the morning, and I have to say that we appreciate the effort to make sure that you get information that we bring to you on a daily basis. I see Sandra Holder is in Region 10. Awesome. So we have one rep from Region 10 at least right now. I see someone joining from London. Martha Noble is joining from London this morning. I see persons, East Bank Demerara is in the house, and this is Sherman Jackman from Covent Garden. East Bank there. Good morning. I see Mimi Hendricks. Hey, Mimi, good morning to you. I see Joan Robertson watching from Region 6. Excellent. Thank you for joining. Lily Paul is joining from Region 3. Make sure that other persons in Region 3 is benefiting from the information as well as we bring it to you this morning. It's always a pleasure. We know Beatrice is joining from New York. Not sure if Beatrice is going to work or not this morning. Elizabeth Howard is watching from Queens as well this morning. Guys, I see all of you here making sure that you do your part in sharing information, and I'm so thankful. I see Polly and Schultz is joining from Region 6. You know, Region 6 look like they're outnumbering Region 10 this morning. So Region 10, you got to do your work. Make sure you share the stream. And guys, make sure that even if you have relatives and friends in regions like Regions 2, Regions 1, Regions 9, so that those persons also can be a part of this information that we put together. I see Charlene is saying pace and power. Alisa Thomas, Region 3. You know, I'm coming over there pretty soon. So I'll make sure that I let you guys know when I'm going to be on the ground in the regions. I'm in Region 3 very often. I have to pass through Region 3 to get to Region 7. So I'm always passing through Region 3. I see my co-host, Mr. Duncan, is fired up and ready to go, coming in with his share the stream. I don't see him all strapped up with audio.
We gotta. Morning, guys. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We gotta change.
I'll shift over this morning as I make
morning,
way.
Guys. Good morning.
I think we're going to be doing 2 sets of shifting this morning.
Morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. We had a late night last evening.
Yes.
On the program with Amanda joined us last evening.
I know.
Putting some issues into context, and I'm happy
Mr.
to be here.
Too.
Yes. Rick Fred was with us, and happy to be here this morning. Happy to be here.
I don't know. I kind of like my hair this morning. I'm sorry, forget
morning, guys. A lot of black on Saturday. A lot of black.
Yeah.
Good to have you guys here.
I'm looking at myself this morning before I came on. I'm saying that this is probably too much black. Like, and persons, like, if I stand up, persons would understand. Black stockings, black dress, black overcoat, black shoes,
all black.
Black bag. I don't know what's going on with me today. Black is my favorite color, so I just have to say that off the bat. That's my favorite color.
You're happy. We're happy.
Yes.
All is well with the world. Good to have all the guys here, though. Really good to have the full house here, almost. And I think we have one of the best, support team here. One of the best, our listeners and viewers, the best ever. Shirley Crichton and, Joey De Freitas, Charlene Juicy Tendry, Louisa Wills, Marilyn Thomas, all of you folks who, a lot of them filter from program to program. One of them came to see us yesterday, Ronald, and he says, he's like that. They go from program to program with us, as we like nomads, program to program. And we're so happy that you guys are here. We're heartened.
You see, I see Lily Paul says black is her favorite color too.
Oh, great. Just for you guys this morning.
Of course.
Black. Awesome. Yep.
Greetings from London. I see Gail. Gail Rogers is saying greetings from London. And I see Chantal Moses joining us this morning also. I was just going to
Chantal,
but it went by so quick.
Yeah, hey, Chantal.
I can't get it back.
Maureen Carpin Williams and Laverne Harry Churan Kelman Prasad. That's one person,
That was entire name, right? Laverne Harry.
Alex Boom. I mean, like, is that a real surname? Boom, like Mr. Boom.
You may be surprised.
Right.
You may be surprised.
All right, Listen, Boom. If it's Boom, it's Boom.
I've heard some of the strangest surnames ever.
Mm-hmm. Like, Finance.
No, Finance is, come on. That's nice.
Abrams, what Abrams?
All of those.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Abrams, Abrahams, all kinds
of Don Cook.
Yes, I see.
Deborah says black is a color too.
Of course, you see.
Yeah.
There's a
black
society out there of people who like black,
Yeah.
We like to define ourselves differently.
I like green. That's like one of my favorite colors.
That's awesome.
Of course, I like
I
yellow
know this, I know that Cher likes green. He doesn't know that I know this, right? But I know Cher likes green. Cher has a green backpack, a green carry-on.
It's only your friends. teal, teal green too. It's only your
A
friends.
very specific shade of green is his type of
Only your
green.
friends, you know. It's only your friends.
So-
Lizzie Simon, how you doing? And Phil Lyon, Shandel Moses, Sharon Alfonso Evans. Sharon, I see for a little while, girl. All is well. Wherever we owe you or you owe us, you know, we forgive you, forgive us. And let
Good
me move on.
morning. Is it Kishore? Kishore is here this morning.
Yep,
Little
yep.
bit, but
Parashram too. Parish is Kishore?
It's same
Parashram Kishore.
person.
Parashram
A
Kishore.
little
How you
touchy.
doing?
He's a little touchy this morning,
Nathan,
but
is
he's
the weather-
here.
is the
So
weather? We
he's
happy.
here. That's amazing.
Showing up is a big part of it.
I see Candace is here with us this morning.
Which Candace?
So Candace said, "In my Candace."
Chan?
I have. That's my Candace. Candace is
Wow.
for the person that I have a
Wow.
few.
I want to make it
have-
our Candace. Yeah.
I have a few friends, people,
Mhm.
and people that knows me. I just don't. I just
Mhm.
don't have friends lightly.
Mhm.
Like I hold friends like for a
Friends
long time.
mean something. It
Friends
means
mean something.
Yeah.
Candace and I have been friends since
Yeah.
we were in first form. We
Wow.
have been friends.
She knows you.
over 20
Candace,
years,
send us
right?
the book, please.
Right, over 20 years.
Send us the
So
book.
there-
Jurita, the Untold Story.
You know,
Please,
right? She
please.
knows everything
Candace
about
down
me.
there in Brooklyn. You
Yes.
know, respect and manners, Candace. Respect and manners. Looking forward for some more fish next time I come. Candace has the best fish ever. Believe it or not. You know, she
cooks really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah, she
I can't-
cooks really well.
Red
And,
snapper she made.
red snapper,
yeah.
beautiful. When I put that fish in my mouth, I didn't want to take it out. You know, it was beautiful.
I think
It
you,
just
I
melted
think
my
you
mouth.
wanted to go back for some
I wanted
more.
to go back for more of Candace's fish.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful experience. I want to do it many times more.
Candace is a really good cook.
Yeah,
you know, she
yeah.
always
She's really
makes
good.
something. Even the Guyanese
Mhm.
people, no matter where you go, she always makes
Yeah,
Guyanese
she has the
food and
best
does
fish
whatever.
that part of Brooklyn. The best.
Yep.
The best.
I
Right.
see Sean Carter is here with us this morning. Also, good morning to you, Sean.
Yeah.
Keith Dowling.
Yeah.
Good morning to you, Keith. How are you doing?
Why is you
Sean
in that
Del
corner by yourself?
Moses.
Let me try to balance up this and then come around this. Yeah, that looks better.
That's
I
better.
don't know if you're running.
You're gonna you have to shift a little bit in a couple seconds. Spiceman.
Yeah. Spiceman. How is Grenada? Hope it's well. Yeah. Winston Grenada. I think it's
You
celebrating a
remember
birthday
these
today.
things.
Winston
Spiceman
Grenada.
is from Grenada.
Yeah.
I did not.
I make
remember
that's
that.
how I learn. You know, I have to make a connection to something. So I link it to something. Say island, and then that's how I.
Okay. I'm not good with names, faces. You know, just
Right?
know what. If you see
A little slow. So
if
I'm
you
not
see me on
trying
the
these tricks.
if you see me on the street and you say hi, don't feel no way. Just say
Mhm.
hi. I am whoever from wherever. Give me a
Spice
little
Man
bit.
says Grenada is good and sunny. Where else you guys are joining us up? Cecile, how are you doing? Good to see you, Cecile.
Commissioner Cole.
Commissioner Cole. Good to have Commissioner Cole. Always has some very strong and pertinent views. And I love that about Commissioner Cole. Marlene DeYoung. Good to see you, Marlene. And Holly London, Vanessa De Silva. All you fantastic people who make the program what it is.
Hear how you talking about that snapper.
Yeah, it was a beautiful snapper.
I'm telling you.
Right, that snapper
I
was-
think he was hungry that day.
I was hungry for Candace's fish, and she delivered
He walked
that fish.
straight.
Right, and I think I'm going to go back many times to have her fish.
Yes, red snapper.
It was beautiful.
Red snapper.
Best fish I ever had in Brooklyn.
I have to keep up saying red snapper. That's the fish.
It surprised me. It surprised because the part of Brooklyn,
Yeah.
you know, that snapper really, it was a beautiful piece of fish.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
You know. Where is Amanda this morning? Cecilia, you know, Sharon is just delivering on these things, guys.
Beautiful.
Amanda's gonna be with us very shortly.
Yeah.
Relax.
Guys, so let's get to the morning paper. I think we're getting on. Let's come off of fish talk. Off of fish talk. And you know, it's quite an evening last evening. From the program, you had that reception that was being held by the EU. Lots of things came out of that reception. We're gonna be talking about in the main, the biggest. The biggest. We can talk about lots of those issues, guys. But we're so happy that you guys are here. But morning papers, what's in the morning papers, Rita?
Well,
How are we looking?
The first thing I want to touch on is today is the date that is set for the CCJ to hear the niece Gopal's case. And persons that would know that the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, will today commence a hearing an appeal filed by BB Gopal and her ex-lover, which Jarvis Small, challenging their conviction and 45-year sentence for the brutal murder
Yeah.
of Nisa Gopal. And for persons that know this specific murder, this rocked their
Yeah.
country,
Yeah. I feel like this was going on since I was a child. That's what I feel.
Yes,
This case has been going.
I have. It sent chills on your spine the first you heard
Yeah.
of this issue, and the more it's been brought forward. I keep thinking, I'm not a judge, jury, or executioner or anything, but like as a mother,
Yeah.
you feel a way about this particular case.
Yeah.
It's hard for me not to
Yeah.
have
When you read the
a
facts.
specific bias
Yeah.
when I have the facts presented about the brutal murder of that young lady, and I know that she left a sister behind also. So the trauma that child would have gone through and all of that, very very sad, very very sad. So I'm very much interested to see what the Caribbean Court of Justice is actually going to pronounce on this matter. So I'll be following it very keenly because there's certain things that when it comes to your actions, the repercussions, it must be there.
The ripple effect of all our actions,
It must be there.
our actions, all of our actions, because that issue is going to affect her sister for a long time.
Yep.
If the sister goes on, and we trust that she does, to have a family, that will have an impact on her family. That's that kind of thing that's what happens.
60,
Good or bad,
yeah.
the ripple. And we often say, look how one woman, patient zero, who came with COVID from overseas, and look at the impact. As I was coming this morning, I was listening on the radio. I think they said we are now at 63,000, right? Positive COVID cases. She's never met those persons, but something she carried on her has had such an impact. And that is how we're all connected in that way. And that little issue that happened I should say little issue, that traumatic event that happened in the Gopal family. Look how that has affected all of us. The psyche and the conscience of this nation.
Yeah.
Right. And so many families are going through so much. We covered last night in our affiliate program In the Ring about an issue about an 11-year-old whose mother seemed to be trafficking her, whose grandmother seemed to be trafficking her. She's out of school, and the story said that her grandmother is using her, selling her for sex, basically, for groceries and for, rum and so on. Very sad.
I often say, and this brings back a point that I like to make. When you read these cases, Nisa Gopal's case, that matter with that 11-year-old. Nisa Gopal was 16 years old when she was murdered. Her mother and the mother's lover,
Queen's College student,
convicted of murdering that young lady. And it brings back the point that I make so many times, that a lot of times, as parents, you want to protect your children. You believe that you have to protect your children from strangers out there, and then you encouch them with the dangers within their own home and within the space that they live in. And we need to be very, very, very careful as to who is allowed around our children. Even when it comes, sometimes you have to protect the children from their own grandmother, grandfather, uncles, aunts. You have to protect your children from I always said, when you give birth to a child, it is your God-given responsibility to make sure that child is cared for. Mothers and fathers, you brought a child into this world, you have to care for that child. And when persons that are entrusted to give care violates that trust altogether,
it puts a bell in the throat and in the chest.
I wish nothing good of certain people. I wish nothing good of them. But
so
guys,
that's one of the things in the morning paper.
So we definitely be giving you a follow-up on how this matter goes. But today is set for the hearing. And I didn't want to just put it out there from now that the Bureau of Statistics is set to conduct a pilot census from May 15th. I'm actually just putting this out there. The information has been reported today in the Kaiser News, that it says here that Statistics Bureau to conduct pilot census from May 15th, and they said preparations are in full swing for the rolling out of Guyana's 2022 population and housing census, with a pilot census to be executed from May 15th to 21st in region 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, and 10, targeting approximately 730 households, And I'm personally, I can tell you that I'm very excited about this particular set of these activities, because when it comes to the numbers and the data, this is something that I dive into fully. And it would be interesting to see the results of the census as it pertains to a lot of the things that we have been speaking about. Persons that don't know, our last actual census was in 2012. So now we are in 2022, and we are, as it is right now, the data that we still rely on, what the finished data was from 2012. So we definitely need those new numbers to come out for persons to know what is going on in the country. And I would love to see how it correlates with the data that we have at GCOM.
Yep. But you know what? I think,
So-
but I think we gotta use this data, because sometimes I think we're in the activity of just collecting it, but what use in terms of
I use
planning
data, but
is
I
the
think
data for us?
nationally, yes, I get Cher's point, because there's no point in having the data if your policy measures are not designed with the data in mind. You can't go to an area that is that has a specific demographic altogether, and put policies that's contrary to that demographic. So you have to use the data in order to actually see results. Performance based. Everything should be performance based. So when you are planning, that is the methodology that you need to use. I don't want to go into these terminologies on the morning program, because this is right up my
Wonkiness.
this is
But
right up my alley.
it has to be relevant. It has to be relevant.
Yes.
And I think this is the kind of data that impacts economic planning,
Yes.
right? If based on what you capture
Sustainable.
there,
Yeah.
it could tell you where you need to allocate your resources, infrastructure, and all the rest of it. So it's
Yeah.
very, very important.
Yeah,
Very
the
important.
census, a lot of persons just look at it for basic numbers,
Yeah.
what just shines out at the top of it. But there's so many things that comes out of that census, and the census is not something that is done in just one period of time. It's an ongoing process, for years and years.
Yeah.
Persons keep
And
compiling data.
we have a challenge here with studies. We have a challenge here with research.
Yeah.
Take this access road we have here, the Mandela New Access Road heading to the East Bank. A good initiative in and of itself, but something should have informed the contractors that is an area prone to cattle, and what are we going to do to keep cattle off of the road? You have a beautiful road, all things being equal, but then you have a whole set of cattle now obstructing traffic and bringing you back to the situation as though you are in the East Bank. I mean, how silly is that? So what could have been done? I don't know. You put rails the entire length of the road. I don't know. Something had to be done. But you can't have a road. And the part of the challenge with having cattle there is that area is always indigenous people rearing cows and that kind of stuff. And now you got the cows in what the newest pasture, 30, 40 cows line up the road, right? But it all goes back to planning, using data, research, and all that. And we don't seem to be very good at that here, Tom.
Yeah, I've been doing research, guys. I'm just gonna stick this in right now. I've been doing research since I was in first year university student. I would be doing research. I did research with the Bureau of Statistics. I did research with affiliate organizations. I did work for the Bureau of Statistics and all of that since my very first year in university. But and it's interesting to see the manner in which those research are being done on the ground. I remember specifically one time, a cigarette company actually wanted to come to Guyana. A cigarette company wanted to come to Guyana, and they hired a company to do the market research on the ground. And I was a part of that team that went out to actually gather the data. So I remember being in a specific community, and I went and we have the questionnaires. You had to literally be at person's door asking questions, and I was specifically asking a question, what like do you smoke cigarettes? And the guy was like, "Oh no, I don't smoke cigarettes. I only smoke weed." I was like fourth year university.
There's a market for it. There's a market.
But it was strange enough that the data that we gathered it showed that there's a very limited amount of persons that were actually smoking cigarettes, and it was not surprising to me when the company just shut off that plan and never came,
Mhm.
because the market just isn't as they would have
Yeah,
liked it to
yeah,
be,
yeah. They don't
you
have
know.
scale. They don't have scale here
Yes.
for the kind of business they want to do. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. So that was also on the morning papers. That's the things making the morning papers. I see on the Kaichur News front page they're talking about primary stakeholders remain in the dark about Wales gas project. This is the gas to shore um, project that's supposed to be happening. Is earmarked for Wales. One of the biggest
Yes.
investments we can be making in our country's history. Hope it doesn't end up like the Skeldon Sugar Factory. That's on that front. I see across the Sabbath News front page, we're talking about CGX and Frontiera announced light oil and gas condensate at Kawa One well. That's happening there. And incidentally, when we hear these things now, we don't feel energized as we used to because we haven't been feeling the benefit of it. And that's quite something there. Again, on Cyber News front page, I'm seeing Norton Jackview in a heated exchange at EU reception. I struggle to see, and this is our big issue this morning. But as you read the news headlines, it's like lots of media houses didn't want to make it seem too big, make it seem too serious, and then some did. So it's interesting to see how media houses looking at the same incident came out with a different impression because Starbucks News says it was a heated exchange. I think I was looking at another media house that said friendly chat. So which is it?
I'm always amazed because at the level of the PAC, I'm always amazed at the reporting that comes out to the PAC, right? Sometimes I say, I say to the media from time to time, you have to give the people what is the accuracy of the information.
Yeah.
Just you don't try to skew it in any direction. Just present the facts, as
But
if
all this is the
what's
politics, because in a news organization, there's politics too, and think of the phrase heated exchange and friendly chat. They are qualitatively different.
yeah,
Qualitatively different
that
things.
is
So
correct.
in the news, what was it? What transpired at this event last night? One paper said heated. Another publication says friendly chat. I mean, and we're left as consumers of the information again. I don't have all the information.
But based on
You know.
persons, someone told me that when they read the news in Guyana, as sad as it is, you can determine which news outlet is aiming towards balance and which are just completely skewed.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And that's just the sad reality
yeah,
as it is.
yeah. What else on the morning papers?
Well, as we're looking at it right now, I see youths plead not guilty to murder of Professor Mars. And
Yeah, yeah. That's a story a couple of years old itself. And the facts of that story, we still don't know all of it, but we know that some young people, there's a group of them who went into that, I think, Bel Air home of
correct.
Professor Mars, and he met his untimely demise in that manner. But that was a pretty shocking story too, because of the age of those young persons,
Very young.
and Professor Mars being a renowned academic and all of that, and we're still waiting for justice in that matter, and all of the information as to what really should were the circumstances surrounding Professor Mars' death.
Yeah, but as it is right now, the youths that have been implicated in that matter are they're pleading not guilty to that. But further when we talk about though, the morning paper is full with very similar issues. Started with the niece to go boy, we went to President Martin now. Most recently, and this one is close to this is one is home for me. This is not close to home. Bartic man was stabbed to death while trying to make peace.
It's always a peacemaker.
Stabbed to death while
Always the
trying
peacemakers.
to make peace. It's a very, very sad story. And this is Alston Sion was murdered here, and then the person being accused is Kellon Crichton, being accused of his death. But usually when you are from a small town like I am from Bartica, like everybody knows everybody. So like these things hit home really hard for everyone, and the fact that you have so many young people. I remember being out recently, and I was noting like too many young people, like like on the road, like all hours of the night, you know, in this sort of environment. It's just not healthy altogether. And persons that know the vicinity in which this incident occurred at 2 a.m. in the morning, you know, it just made me remember that thought in my head that, you know, young people, they say, you shouldn't be on the road at this hour. You should be at home in the safety of your home.
2 a.m.
Like a lot of
2 a.m.
school age children on the road at that hour, you know, folks in Bartica, you know, we have to make a plea as a mother, as a resident. I just wanted to say that you know, it's important. I used to feel like my mother was locking us up when I was growing up, and my mother would say, you don't know the dangers out there, you know, you don't know the dangers out there, what I'm saving you from. And now I'm older, I understand that I wasn't missing anything. That I didn't miss anything.
Trying to help us.
Right.
Yeah. We always find that. You always find in the crowd, people do things they wouldn't do, you know, ordinarily.
Yes.
Always do things they wouldn't do ordinarily. But those are some of the issues making the morning papers.
Yes, those are some of the issues. But also I'm seeing here Curtin woman on $520,000 bail for fatal accident.
And we've been talking about this, you know, arrive alive, slow down on the roads, but lots of people, you know, not paying heed. And I think there was some reporting on this matter that says this quarantine woman was drunk driving. There's some reporting on that. She was drunk driving. And I think, and again, just looking at the media, I saw one report says she was placed on $500,000 bail, $500,000. And now report says it's 520. Like, which is it?
Yes.
Right? Which is it? It's $500,000, it's 520, it's 600. You know, and that's the problem we're raising. You know, one report, and you got so many variations of it. Right? And part of news is accuracy. Right? So I don't know. But again, not to detract from the main issue here, we got to take the road safety more. We got to place a higher premium on that. People just, you know.
What is the cost of your life? I think that's the question you need to ask. What is the value of your life?
People say I can hold my liquor.
Right? What is the value of your life? And that's the question that you need to ask yourself. When you go out into the road, what is the value of your life? You know, you're trying to overtake somebody recklessly. What is the value of your life? You know, is this the way I'm willing to just risk my life? You know, this is how this is a lack of value I have for myself, that I'm just going to go out there and do whatever. You know, what is the value you place in your life? I value my life. So when I'm out there, don't slow down, take, you know,
I like
be cautious.
driving Miss Daisy. I just what do you call it? I just
ignore them.
I pull over and let them pass.
Yes, exactly. Just pull to the side and let them go. You know, let them go. They probably have some emergency. Hopefully that it's worth. Hopefully they've measured the value of their own life and they decide that is a risk that they want to take. Let them go. Let them go bravely. Just keep a safe distance so you can just halt or stop in case of any nonsense in front of you. Make sure that you value yourself. You have to get to the culture of lawlessness on the road. We have us where we are right now.
Folks, we have Princess Margaret here, the Queen's sister. That's right. What an lovely Manza was. I love to see Manza smiling. Princess Margaret herself. Your Majesty.
Rock and come in. Know how I miss her on these days. When she leaves me with Sharon alone.
Rock and come in. Come from any angle. We can take it. Let me step aside. Someone can come in. How are you doing? How are you doing, doll? Blue and all.
I love it.
All right.
I love
Let
it.
me see you.
I'm okay. I'm sitting on
You right there. Or you can take the end. You big end.
You go.
You like the feel? Right there. Guys, Amanza has arrived. Please and thank you. Now we're complete. I might need to shift around a little bit. Let's balance out. We always gotta.
We got big things going on today.
A lot of space.
We have
more prep mode.
Actually, Sharon is not invited to today's
You need to pull on your fancy computer.
Sharon can't come.
And why can Sharon not come?
I'm fine.
Well, we will be speaking about it, you know. I think you need to go a little closer.
We're a little
to
off balance.
Mansa.
Man's need to shift around a little bit more. I can take
See,
10.
this is what happened when I want to do 3 million things in the morning.
Yeah. I know man's a big in particular.
Yeah.
Let me shift down and give you some.
Morning,
Yes.
guys.
I always gotta balance it.
Let me just read it.
I don't mind being closer to man's. Good vibe. Guys, morning. We're all here now. I think we can start now. We're starting with some international news.
We were waiting.
We
We
were
were
waiting on
waiting.
you.
We were just talking about
Yeah.
the arriving alive. Oh my gosh, we need to.
Yeah. They're not using the road with care. But you know, people are in happy spirits in the Philippines this morning because they hear
Are there?
there's a aren't they? They elected the fella. I don't
know what's
If-
going on,
If
because-
bias remorse already.
Listen, I see. As you're seeing,
It's the Philippines. Yeah.
yesterday we spoke about the fact that he was running for the well, the election was yesterday. Let me
Yeah.
just start off
Yeah.
with there, right?
Ferdinand Marcos,
And
and this is the presidential candidate in the Philippines. Let's start.
Yes, and his father,
Yeah.
his father
Okay.
was the controversial figure prior. So there was a lot of concerns internationally on that front. But what I can say right now is that according to some of the news that are being headlined, there have been some amount of protests when his win was declared. Right? So
That's interesting.
that is very interesting to me.
Guys, you'll take it
because-
from there. I'm gonna help him answer to some tea.
Yes.
Some people discussing it.
Yes.
No, but Jordan, that's interesting. Protests. I mean,
Yes. There's some amount of protest because of that, and it's very, very. I do not understand how the
No, but
24 hours have not elapsed.
Not elapsed. But you know, okay, so it points to a couple of things.
Yes.
One, the people of the country exercising their democratic rights.
Correct. That's the first one.
So that that does take courage, and they could be looked at as an example. The second thing is that when you study the history of the country, his father was one of the most brutal dictators to ever govern.
And that's what everyone was fearful of,
And corruption
My
was
goodness.
on such a scale. His mother had the largest collection of shoes.
Mm.
Imelda Marcos, known for her collection of shoes, while the people were living in abject poverty.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting. It's something that we're going to have to keep monitoring.
Mhm.
Is the son different from the father? Or is it the case if you've seen the father, you've seen the son?
Yeah, but we're gonna
we have to
hope
monitor
for
that.
we have to hope for the
Hope
best
for the
right
best.
now.
Hope for the best.
And based on the fact that he won in the election, there's a section of the society that believes that he is the better choice for that altogether. So that is for sure.
The other side
So-
of that is that some of the news reports have been saying that there's a convincing ring. So I don't think I want to rain on the man's parade. If the people didn't want that kind of history and leadership, they would have voted for the other guy. And I think they were probably between the devil and the deep blue sea because the other fella, he's not walking the park either. He's not walking the park either. We understand that. We understand that he's not walking the park, and that's a challenge on that side. But we're happy for the people of the Philippines. If they're happy, we're happy for them.
Correct.
Well,
Correct.
I would like to monitor it.
Yes.
Like to monitor.
Yeah.
It's just like you.
Yes.
I know, right?
Caution.
Trust but verify. Yeah.
Rock and comment.
But on the local front,
Yeah.
Sherrod, a lot has been
Man's different. Let
happening.
me tell you something. I got given appreciation from Man's. Man's different. The way Man's takes her tea,
Yeah.
she's different.
What do you
Right.
mean, Sherrod?
Right? You really want to know what I mean?
I do.
A man just has tea bag. Just tea bag and hot water.
She just.
I don't know
has-
if that's tea. I beg to disagree. Right? I don't think that's tea. She's different. Man's different.
What's the business on there?
Right?
Yes.
You know.
Director, who's next?
We poor, but we never so poor.
For the disclaimer, Sherrod has all this stuff,
Yeah.
He could afford some milk, right?
Man's
a
a
spoon
boy.
of milk or something.
She got different constitution. Moving on. Different constitution. If it's just hot water, is it still tea?
Yes, it is.
You think so?
Of course.
That's a HRPC. Yeah, too bright. Great head, Rita. Set up the shot for us.
I think I'm gonna.
It's different.
I'm not gonna
So
trust a man. I'm not
there's
gonna
that
trust
one.
Sherrod with the man's
I don't trust nobody who just drink tea bag hot water. I trust nobody. You different. You got to be CIA, FBI. There's some training kicking in right there. There's some training kicking in right there. But on the local front, we're getting some reprieve with what's been happening at Linden with these quantities. We've been talking about that, guys. Sorry to sticking that in there. A man said I was crying and they said I don't know. So when she touched the she cried. She good.
Sherrod have me like that's all the time.
Always crying.
I have to change like how I put on my makeup when I'm
pretty
coming on.
strong
because,
woman, but otherwise, yeah. Always crying.
But I'm so happy that some solution has been reached.
But I have an issue with the man.
But if you crying like that, I know you're a single woman. No guys, when they watching you, gonna want to know. There's so many emotional.
I'm laughing.
This woman always crying.
Did I pick on a man today?
Oh God! Save her, Rita. Save her. Amelia's work. So they're getting some relief.
He's just saying you whether he jumped.
They had to cry. They had to cry too. They had to cry and then the boy stepped in. I don't know.
All right, so let me say my issue because I was made to understand that yes, but persons were being called up individually. Selected persons were being called up in the most sneakish of manner to come to a meeting. I think that was supposed to be had yesterday at 3 p.m. Mind you, this is after the big headlines in yesterday's papers of the denial altogether that this happened. Then persons were being silently called aside and asked to come in for a meeting to calm them down and to basically throw water on the issue. But this is something that, and I'm going to push in Cheryl's words here. I always do that when you settle for less, temporary becomes permanent. And the way in what you teach people to give to you, those things that you accept and the manner in which you accept them, it just sets the precedence for how you will be treated moving forward.
I know Valzan says that. And when I first heard her say it changed my life. She said, it's not what people do to you that matters. It's what you allow them to do.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
You were on the ground there. I was seeing some of the clips and I could hear the emotion in your voice in terms of how, I mean, it's something to labor and to just have it.
And you know what? I mean, you look at this morning. We do have that clip. We do have that clip, man.
It's I could hear it. I could hear the distress in Joretta's voice. I mean, and then I saw the video of some of the people, and you have to wonder. I mean, what caring government puts their people through?
Not this.
I mean, you call people. Look at the way they treated the squatters in the Yamaha embankment. They were called. They were offered compensation. They were offered alternative land plus house, and transportation was provided for them to move their belongings. Why then must you treat the people of Linden in that manner?
Let me think about that for a second. I wonder why. We do have that video that Rita filed while she was there, getting her first. And the video is on the ground, boots on the ground. She was there. I'm in solidarity with those persons. I thought about you in the third person. But here's that video.
In all my life, I've never seen anything like this. Someone's home, a young man's home.
I think it's just gonna.
In all my life, I've never seen anything like this. Someone's home, a young man's home. Bulldozer to the ground. Absolutely no rationality in reasoning given. This is what persons are facing in Guyana right now. Young people struggling to make ends meet. They don't want to be out there begging. They're working hard. And what does the administration do? They bulldoze to the ground, house to the ground, without any justification, rationalization, victimization at its best.
I think that was for me personally, that there were three particular stops that we made that was very you can't believe it. You can't come to grip with the fact that an administration, persons that are in the position utilizing taxpayers' dollars to do whatever they do. They're living off of the people's money on a daily basis. And that decision was taken there. That was one of the situations. That property that was destroyed, right? Maliciously destroyed. that specific property was a young man that was getting married, young guy engaged to be married, trying to build a house so that him and his current fiance to be wife would have a nice place to be. And I remember specifically, that one hit a nerve to everyone, because it was an older man in the community that said the young man went to him the night when after the incident happened, after persons in authority was given a mandate to go and maliciously destroy in a more barbaric, inhumane manner those persons' property. He said the young man went to him and he broke down and he cried, because people are working hard to make sure that this is somebody begging on the street, a man, so right. People going out to work, these persons know that that there is a process ongoing. There's a committee in place. Persons are in discussions to regularize. You have officials coming and putting numbers at properties and so. And then persons went in and did that. That cannot go uncompensated. There must be punishment for such brutal action.
It is so distressing. I mean, you have to be a special kind of heartless, and then you do it in the rain. One woman was bulldozed while she was in her house.
Yeah. Well, those are the two other cases. The two other cases was the one elderly woman that they had to drag out of her house. Human rights letters will be sent out, right? About that specific one. And then there was the other instance with the woman that was running from an abusive relationship and actually got there, like literally put that place up on her own, so that I know what I looked at it, and she had the little flowers that she had planted around the house and stuff like that. And I'm like, who could, like, what type of person could do something like this? Right? Very. So when I read the headline about the ministry reaches out for to give solutions, right? Bullshit. That should have been done from the beginning. You don't go and do that and then go and provide solutions. Solutions were in the process of being provided. That was a malicious action, and don't come with these stupid headlines now.
I will certainly be.
I have no patience with.
I will be supporting that these people file for emotional distress. That is emotional distress.
Yes.
And
that child's feelings being hurt by headlines. That is emotional distress, and they must sue them up for it.
And with that, they got to do like what the indigenous brothers and sisters do. You got to go to some higher court outside of this country, some higher body, and file human rights violations and all of that, because these things, like so many cases get tied up in the court system here and never see the light of day.
Well, most interesting, today we have the CPA. We have the CPA in Guyana, representative from the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association here in Guyana.
There's a conference happening.
Most important, interestingly, they were here yesterday and they stopped at the Public Accounts Committee meeting. They were in there briefly, just came in and they sat for a few minutes before they left. And I was thinking to myself,
boys must have been in the best behavior.
No, well, Gail and Angel wasn't present, so they didn't see what the Public Accounts Committee actually was would be like. But I note
they gotta come on
I note the efforts to make everything appear to be
civil,
normalcy, regularity. Wow. But talking about that, a not interesting story that is brewing, that is on the morning brew, is this one. I was eager to hear what you ladies had to say of this one, and I want to read some segments of this. I think we picked this up from the Chronicle. This woman who was found guilty of attempting to extort 10 million from an ex-lover, and it's pretty interesting. I'd love to have your take on it. Let me just read some parts of it. It says that a 20-year-old woman was on Friday found guilty of threatening to accuse her ex-boyfriend of attempted rape in a bid to extort $10 million from him. Princess Williams, this is Chronicle, of Providence's Bangamara, was on trial before Magistrate Rondell Weaver, and she was out on $100,000 bail. On Friday, Magistrate Weaver found Williams guilty of the offense and remanded her to prison until June 6th for sentences. A probation report is expected I'm going to skip past some of that. The charge stated that between Monday, January 4th, 2021, and the 7th of January of that year, at Georgetown, Williams, with the intent to extort money from Kenrick Thomas, specifically $10 million, threatening to accuse him of attempting to rape her. This is where it gets interesting. The court informed that Williams and Thomas were in a sexual relationship for approximately 4 months, during which time he would invite her to his home to hang out with her and have dinner. But on January 4th, when he invited her to his home, as per usual, he changed strategy and asked that they have sex as soon as she arrived. And surprisingly, she consented. But then as they were about to get into the act, an argument ensued. Wow. Wrong type. An argument ensued between the two, and he told her to get dressed and proceeded to take her home. The following day, Thomas reportedly ended the relationship with Williams, but she, not wanting to take no for an answer, still tried to get the relationship back on an even keel, but he refused to have anything to do with her. And then is when this scheme was hatched. And then on one day, in a fit of rage at being spurned, she sent him a video message via WhatsApp. And she said that having tried to rape her, he'd have to either pay her $10 million or she'd go to the police with the evidence. After receiving the threatening message, Thomas immediately reported the matter to the police, and an investigation was launched. And here we are where we there.
Here we are where we there.
Here we are where we there. Yeah.
You know, I have some, and she's found guilty. What I can say is, like, I'm a woman, but I also have brothers, all right? And it's a dangerous world out there for women and men also when it comes to these things.
Thomas sounds like a nice guy.
And no, but like, I don't know like the details of their relationship, but I think that whoever is in his circle, he was advised well when they advised him to go make a report right there, right away, and nip it in the bud. A lot of times when persons are threatened, and these things are like extortion, blackmail altogether, all those violent gross words could be associated. When those things happen, a lot of persons go into a shell, and they start to fear, well, what this person can do next, and that is how persons use that power to manipulate and further put you in a position of weakness. And I think it's very important to note that those things exist, and not all the time the men are the bad ones, And as you're speaking about that, I have to mention the fact that I've been following this case with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard online. A lot of persons are following the case, so many details coming out, and it goes to show, like, again, not all the time men are bad. Sometimes women are just as malicious and dangerous.
Really?
And and Sharon, you have no idea, but a lot of in cases in which women are malicious, they are brutal. Like, I've seen and heard of the most savage, ridiculous. It's general.
It's
general.
One of the things that I've learned that is so very important is that you have to treat each case on its facts.
Yes.
Its merits.
We attempt to do this broad brush.
Mm-hmm.
And very often.
Yes.
No, because I have a special interest in these things.
Very often.
Very.
I have to sit my team, but no, very often we tend to apply general assumptions to situations.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not necessarily always the case. You have to be able to, and this is why I stay away from commenting a lot on personal situations and on people's personal lives, because I have lived enough experiences to know
yourself.
It's not a
you lived the experience.
Cutter.
I like
Of
this
course.
now.
I've got about a little bit, and I have a couple experience. When I write the book, a lot of people will be put to shame, but we'll deal with. We have to be able to look at issues and the facts of it, and put aside general assumptions. Yes, there are situations, and I believe that at all times you do not victimize the victim.
You can't.
But I do not subscribe to believe all victims. There's a reason why there's a legal process, and that the person is
Due
innocent
course.
until proven guilty.
Yeah.
And so we have to respect that there's a reason why that is there. It is for balance.
It's good to have a lawyer.
I'm saying we can't just always believe the victims.
Yeah.
Yes, take measures to make sure that that they are protected and safe.
Yeah.
But you have to afford the other person the opportunity to
Yeah.
answer to the
in our fight.
Shirley said that's when big man like deal with Lily. How Shirley know it's a big man? Oh, Shirley.
No, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that.
But this other story here, as we proceed, guys, is right up Amanza's Avenue. Right up Amanza's Avenue. I want to hear Amanza's take because Amanza was right up Amanza's Avenue, and really want to hear Amanza's take
Credit
on
Union
this.
press conference.
Yep. A lot of things came out of that press yesterday that I don't think they intended. Unintended consequences, there's some sitting.
You can't be ill prepared. It was the most ridiculous decision to make. You don't go to a presser ill prepared to that extent. So for a matter that is commanding the attention of public, so people got the money there and they are interested in what is going on, and the media have to report on the facts of the matter. You can't go to the press conference. Oh, you're not willing to speak about this and that. What the hell? Like what the hell? You says you have no confidence in me. You have to state why. He's doing too much. I think that's the main reason.
That was one of the important.
Doing the most.
That was one of the.
He's doing too much. He's making it hard for us.
That was one of the bizarre moments, as I say, in the press conference, and I think we have.
Super bizarre.
We may have the actual thing.
Svetlana Marshall from the Village Voice News. Could you say? I know you mentioned that Mr. Ben wanted to have two. Svetlana Marshall from the Village Voice News. Could you say, I know you mentioned that Mr. Ben wanted to have two positions, the two highest positions in the Co-op Society, the credit union. Outside of that, could you say what are other maybe allegations or grievances the board or the committee of management may have with Mr. Ben that would warrant such a no confidence motion?
We will not divulge that. Just know that the board is a mature board, and we made the decision that based on Mr. Ben's dealings with the board, that he was not fit and proper to be the chairman.
Yeah, I mean, like.
But it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. There's a lot to unpack in that video.
Yeah.
You have people around that table who are experienced in labor relations. They represent aggrieved workers, and so they know that the first course of action, if you have charges against the person, you have to put those charges to the person. You have to afford them an opportunity to answer to those charges.
Yeah.
So if you are prepared to deny a man the most fundamental of freedoms, how are you representing me as a labor rep?
I think the law calls it a right to be heard.
It's a right to be heard.
It seems
fundamental tenet of natural justice.
Yeah.
It seems like, it seems that the accusation that is being levied against him is things that the accusers are more guilty of than he is, right?
I don't understand.
I am saying this. I'm saying this in the lightest way.
I don't know what he's being accused
I don't
of because
understand.
I
Right?
didn't hear anything.
No, because the accusation as is, they basically say that he wanted positions, and the only thing we can interpret as the persons on the outside looking in, as the persons that are making the allegation wants the positions too.
No, but
Right?
the point is, so what? So what? What
Isn't that the
is
whole
that criminal?
the course?
Is
Isn't
that
that a whole
evil?
course of life altogether? You work, you try to alleviate yourself.
Yeah.
You do the work. That's why you work hard all the time to make sure that you are competent enough to be able to step a little bit further. Isn't that a whole course?
Isn't
that a
it
charge?
though?
Isn't
Like,
it? Like, I
being
just don't get
ambitious,
it.
But outside of that, she affirmed that the process worked because she said that proposal was brought to the board and it was not agreed to. And that was the end of that. So if that was truly the end of that, why are you here today having a mess of a press conference, trying to villainize a man that has
I don't think they're going to do it.
delivered?
I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to have that press conference again.
I didn't think they were ready for the media.
They were not ready for
I
the
mean,
media. They were
it is so,
ill-advised.
but you want to handle billions of dollars in taxpayers' money, and it was bizarre to use Sharon's word. I've never seen anything like it, and I made the point last evening on In the Ring that we want to say that it's the PPP, but it is not immediately apparent to me that any one of them around that table are ostensibly, because I've never heard any one of them come out to say that they support the government, so that they could be accused of being under the influence of the government. So you have to ask yourself the question, or you have to
what's the real motive?
What is the real motive? And it's no wonder labor is in the state that it is in.
Correct.
Because they need to be focusing on fighting for workers' rights. Like we said last night, for the first time, public servants have been able to afford a mortgage, qualify. Some brackets of public servants qualify for mortgage. And you have people who are content to run roughshod over that in their own personal interest. And they must be held to account. All of them must be voted out.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Because I think we were making a point even on the podcast that the members of the credit union need to have a very loud voice in this altogether, because persons that contribute, like myself, I'm a member of credit union. I have no issue with Trevor Ben, and I am super proud of the way in which he has been doing his work and all of that. And so many other persons are saying the same thing. Interestingly enough, I think it was Miss Simone Brooms that I saw did a live, and she's very upset with the whole matter as well. I think one thing she mentions is that these persons are getting $200,000 a month, the members of that board. And I'm like, which board is this?
I'm available
So I want to go. I have to fact check this, but I'm just gonna reply. I'm just gonna regurgitate what was said.
Because you know that's the whole salary of an MP per month, right?
Right.
And these people get me to sit on a board.
That's what I'm
Plus
telling
they
you.
have their other job.
Right. So when no, but I was wondering which type of board, which type of board is this? Because persons who are people that don't know. Let me just tell you, like even because both Sharon and I at one point in time was at the level of the board of Chronicle. I sat as the chairman of the board of directors of the Guyana National Newspaper Limited, which is the Guyana Chronicle. Let me tell you. And your take home as the chairman of the board is $20,100. That is just
the committee of management sits there and doing nonsense.
And that I can tell you was crazy work too, So that's the whole case by itself.
I meant to make the point last evening that there was a member of that board. I was saying, where was Trevor Ben when they were in some struggle? And I mean,
nothing distresses
it's bizarre some of the stuff that was mentioned yesterday.
Me because what he betrayed there is a sentiment echoed even in politics.
Entitlement.
Yes.
Even in politics.
Entitlement.
There's not a team approach.
No, no. That's not how I see it.
If you invent suffering and the sufferation and so on, you have no right.
No, that's not how I saw it. I see it a little
If
differently.
our forefathers said that.
I see it a little differently, Manza. Bear with me. That's why I love these discussions in the morning, because I see it as someone saying that regardless of whether or not I have the competence, the fact that I have been here automatically gives me the right to be at the top. You understand?
I think it's
so it doesn't say, right. No, they don't have. They're saying that you don't competency is not a requirement for you to actually have a seat and have a position, but you got to be here all the time. You have to be competent. You have to be competent.
You know what? Yesterday, I hope to God was an off day for the board. I hope it was one of their off days. I'm hoping.
You cannot be calling a press conference to make your case and have an off day.
Because I'm thinking, that's what I'm thinking. As executives coming to make a case, there's a case you're prosecuting publicly. You can get your ducks aligned in a row. Even to state where they were prosecuting him from in the guide. The person, the whole thing was bizarre. As far as I know, the vice chair of the board is a male. they're saying the vice chair will be chairing this board, but he's not the one steering the press conference. It is somebody else. There's so many power
But that
centers
is no, but that's
here.
one of my, that's what I was looking for, because I know, like, I don't know the vice chair, and let me just put it out there. I don't know this person that sits on the board. You know the work Trevor Ben has been doing, because he's been out there and you're familiar with him. I don't know him personally either. But when you look at the dynamics, like Amanda said, she likes to get the facts. You know, what are the facts? And I was hoping that when that press conference was had, that I would have gotten certain facts. And it left me with more questions than answers, because I want to know if there was something that we did not know that pushed them in this direction, you know. And I was looking for this, waiting for this something that I did not know. And as of right now, it seems like they don't know it either.
The point I was going to make,
So-
the point I was going to make is that if this is the leadership of the credit union, that credit union is in serious trouble.
No, but
in a couple of days.
these were the people that were involved in labor and the credit union all along.
But how Trevor had
So
managed
that's why it was in trouble all along.
Of course.
That's why it was in trouble all
Of
along.
course.
Those that
You
here for
haven't-
20 years
haven't been able
and
to
in grade,
pay
where were
attention.
you? And you come.
But you see,
Yeah.
let's
That's
talk
mentality,
about that.
that
because Loretta
mentality.
raised an important
Talk to us.
point.
Mm.
It is a psyche issue that we gotta address.
Mhm.
A body is made up of different parts. Hormonstein, when he was marching, might have been the foot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Useful, important, necessary for the task at hand. But we need a brain right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not that, it doesn't make you less important, because the time will come again when we might have to hit the streets again.
Correct.
It is about you being secure in yourself enough to know where your strengths are, where your competencies lie, and understanding that somebody else going to the front does not diminish your work. It doesn't
Correct.
diminish your
Yeah.
value. It doesn't
Yeah.
diminish your contribution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to be honest with yourself
Mm-hmm.
to come to these conclusions
Yeah.
and to self-check.
Yeah.
And because we have a lot of leaders
Mm-hmm.
who are not willing to do that, like this young man, he is sitting in the gall of bitterness because in his anger he burst out what the real
Yeah.
issue
Yeah.
is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That
Correct.
I deserve to
Yeah.
sit as king of this hill
Yeah.
because when I was in the struggle, you were nowhere there. There is a place for struggle. And if you look at how democracies and advanced democracies work,
Yeah.
generally the people who are carrying the fight are not necessarily the ones who carry the leadership.
Mm.
It takes a different gifting.
Mhm.
And people got to learn to start operating in their gifting. There are certain things that I will never be economics and so on. No, I defer to Joretta on those matters because this is where I depart from the whole story. Because I'm not good at
That's
that.
how I feel about law.
There you go. And so you can come here, you can compliment each other, and you can be secure in yourself enough to say, girl, you're not this thing. Try interpret this chart for me because
Yeah.
this piece of story.
Yeah.
And she can come and say, man's here in this case, and so on and so forth. There's no need for this rank competition. And what you are seeing is that mindset on full display. And Rickford made a very important point last night that if the credit union do good, Travis the leader of the credit union, I think that's a Ben and the leadership and so on.
What
and
is the
so
credit
forth.
union?
But left $500 million missing.
Mm-hmm.
Is he?
Who got the answer for it?
Is he?
Is he got the answer
But
for
they
it
were at
too?
pains. The board was at pains, as Slater pointed out. It wasn't a one man. It was so immature. It was.
Harmonstein gave away the whole thing.
Yeah. Where were you?
That sounds familiar.
He sung like a 5 month.
He sound familiar.
Where
Were you?
Where were you during the 5
During
months?
the 5 months? Where were you?
Yeah.
My Lord. That
That's
I
a
don't
familiar
know.
refrain.
I was shocked because you see some people and you think they got certain things, but then you had an exam yesterday and they didn't pass the exam.
Time pass.
Like they didn't even study for it. They just walk in the exam room and they sit down and say,
Fat F.
"My Lord, that listen to me, guys. I don't know if I know they're gonna watch us. You gonna read the comments.
Yeah.
Don't listen
and
to
if
us.
they are looking at us, just cease and desist from the foolishness.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
because
foolish,
I think they
it is.
have,
It
they have a
is.
unique opportunity, Amanda.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right now, they have a unique opportunity to change the course of how
Yeah.
people view them individually.
Yeah.
Because first of all, and I have to make this point, I don't know who advised on the press conference, but what that press conference did was put faces to the absurdity of the whole situation.
I
you
think
know,
it who advised
Oh,
them.
I love
so-
that description.
so-
Yes.
so
Yeah.
Faces to
So is
the
this how, and
absurdity
that's
of
what
right?
people say. Look
And
at these five fools. Look at these clowns here.
Yeah, no,
Look at them. It was
I was
good.
personally surprised
I
at some
was,
of the faces because some of them are known to me.
my
And I
God,
was like, oh my God,
Mm.
like really?
mm.
Like I felt let down. I was like, come on.
I had preferred not to know.
Yeah, I was
I
taken
I had
aback.
preferred not to know who the persons are, because then because putting faces to it, and not so and I give this bit of caution to persons moving forward, because anyone had asked me on that position, I would have said, you know what, as it is right now, the only person people is the union, the board against Trevor Ben, and y'all leave it like that. You don't want to go out there swinging, because it's a battlefield out here. Come on, let's be real about that. So
Wow.
and not everyone
Wow.
have the built to actually withstand the pressure that comes when you expose yourself to that level of publicity. And now when you line persons up, I don't even know if some of them wanted to be
I don't know
at
if
that
some of them
lineup,
wanted to be
you
there.
know.
Like, Sir
But you
Mars
line
was
people
very
up there
quiet.
and
Sir
you
Mars
just
was
leave
very-
them,
he was
Yeah.
very generally
put them out
outspoken.
there to the
He preferred to
pressures.
remain
Yeah.
quiet. There was
Yeah.
wisdom in that, I would say.
Yeah.
But shareholders of the GPSU Credit Union
Should
cannot
worry.
allow this
Should
foolishness
worry.
to continue. This is your money, and for the first time, you are seeing tangible progress. It therefore means that you have to get up and you have to act. There are certain things that you will be able to blame the PPP for.
Yes.
Your inaction,
Not everything.
not going to be one of them.
Yeah.
Your inaction will be
Yep.
solely on you.
Yeah.
So get up. I hear that there's going to be a petition going around for members to sign, asking for an SGM
Everybody.
and for
Present. Where's my?
yes.
You see?
We have two shareholders here. And this ship got to be righted. There are certain things that you just have to get it done and over with. And people must understand that they have to be held accountable. Public servants cannot be demanding that the PPP be held accountable if they have the power to call that committee of management to account and they don't do it.
Yeah, that
You
is
see?
correct.
Yep.
And that's a lot of people. With power comes great power,
responsibility.
great responsibility. When you want to come with swinging, gotta be prepared for the
They weren't even
aftermath.
swinging yesterday. I don't know what's that. They ain't
It
like
was
the
a
back yet.
swing attempt.
They,
It was a
they,
swing
I
attempt.
don't know.
Listen,
I
that
don't
was a
know.
swing attempt. I don't see how you view
I
it.
don't know, but none of them justify the as they should sit on that board. None of them. Some of them with experience in HR.
So now I want to know.
all kinds
I
of things.
beg, edify me if you can, please, at this moment. Like what qualifies one to sit on the board? How is
That's
one
madness.
selected or
That's madness.
elected to be on the
Because
board?
You're voted
what-
on
Who
by
vote? Who
the
votes them?
shareholders.
The shareholders.
Members
vote.
of the
So
members
when
of
last was there an
The
election?
last
when Trevor
time,
was
the last
elected,
time Trevor
yeah.
won by a
Yeah.
landslide.
That was the other day.
And so when is the
Was the
next
other day?
election
Last
due?
year.
When
That
is
was the other day.
Well, it's usually, it could be done at an AGM, but you can call
and
SGM.
And
that's
upset the
what
whole
I'm
thing.
You
asking
can call
right
a
now,
special-
right?
And that's what the petition will do. Call for a special SGM and fire the whole lot of them.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I
You see?
recommend that. I
Come on.
recommend that.
I mean, you gotta go down the course of the law when you want to do these things.
One of the most
Call me for the
glaring
numbers,
things
call the man
yesterday,
for the law.
this man no confidence motion was moved, and it was asked, where in your bylaws did you find that? The person leading the press conference, and she must have been put out there for a reason.
Set
says,
up.
I don't know. That's on the admin side of things.
Set
She
up.
calls on the human resource officer, right? And the human resource officer has a moment to show why I'm the human resource officer. Human resource officer, I don't know neither. I never consult the code of conduct. I mean, this man, a no confidence motion don't move against the man, and they don't know on what basis they have moved this no confidence, and they're telling the public, this is what they said to this nation. We call a press conference to clarify
They got set up.
the misinformation about this
Listen
no
to the
confidence.
setup. Sharon, listen to the setup, right? And I want to
Lord
know,
have his mercy.
I want to know the setup came from the response, the acknowledgement letter that was signed by Debbie Prasad from Ministry of Labor. That was the setup. that gives the impression that what is being done, it's completely in check with the law. And yes, we acknowledge this action and so on. And so I read that letter a couple times, right? I read that letter a couple of times, and I said, Joretta, you don't know the law, but this song is a little too loose.
The law is first common sense.
Debbie got him out. Let me continue.
They get set up.
It's a
and you know what
setup.
would
It's a
happen?
setup, and I'm sorry about
And
it.
they are waiting.
Yeah.
Debbie Prasad and all of them are waiting, writing the slips
Yep.
for a reason.
To say,
And you know, they're
To
not
say what?
beyond manufacturing a reason.
Yeah.
We will appoint a COM or an IOC.
Yeah.
it coming.
Next thing, the
Yeah.
life savings of public servants gone to some investment.
Some
I'm sorry,
bridge.
that could be
some,
different.
some public-private partnership
Yeah.
for some
Yeah.
bridge or some building
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Public
Yeah.
servants,
Yeah.
Sharon said, we're not having it. Don't
Yes,
have it.
there was an interesting day. So we had that happening in the afternoon, and in the night we had this what do you call it? It was a reception to mark
It
the
was a reception.
50th anniversary of the EU ties with our country diplomatically, and then some other things were happening. They had EU Day, I think it
EU
was
Day.
was part of that too. And you had this engagement. That's our big issue this morning. You know, we're doing things that we want to. Yeah, don't fret. Right? That's the big issue for this morning, because coming out of that is whether there is a Norton Jagdio debate. I see even them our waves carried something on this. I mean, we called it first last evening because Norton in the exchange with Mr. Jagdio last evening said, you talking about SOPs and so on. I bring your thing and let me discuss this publicly. Let's debate this publicly. I'm willing anytime. Right? Anytime. But I see this old worn out argument of the people coming back to SOPs. That's the only thing they got,
Yeah.
Right? Where are your SOPs?
You push
Coming
on
back
the
to
woman
that.
house with her in it. Where's the SOP?
Where your SOP,
Yeah.
Where were you, woman? She lift her voice in dissension during that scene. Here's some of what came out of this exchange. Sarah Cruz calls it a heated exchange. I saw another news media that says it was a friendly chat. They can't decide what it was. But here is some of the video coming out of what transpired last evening there. I think we have some of it.
But here, if you bring your SOPs tomorrow, make them public.
Do we have
I
the video?
will, next day I'll give it.
I don't think the audio is on. No, it's
No,
not
no,
on.
no. When you bring your
made a
SOPs,
point, allow me now. If you accept the observation report, I will explain. Once you allow the observation,
which observation report? From the OAS, from the European Union, from the Carter Center, from CARICOM?
like you want fun. You know what?
Which is the observation report? Or the 6th.
To have
Afterwards, we
an assessment and then the observation. What assessment to determine which votes were fraudulent and which one never allowed it to go as
there is a law called the Representation of People Act, and it speaks specifically what are we going to about.
you voted along.
You voted
Let me
along.
make a point. You sat down and decided to allow me.
Yes, we come back in accordance with
Sat
the.
down and said, this report was put into law. This report was put into law.
Yeah.
It had 4 phases. Yeah,
Yeah,
I said to it. You said it would come to a phase.
The recount, listen, what CHICOM was doing was Vincent Alexander and your colleagues were busy trying to support the
Could
process.
I ask you a question? Did you agree to all the 60 and zip law? In that law, did it state the process? Did the process go through? Those are the
Yeah, all right, well, why?
Whenever you're ready and prepared to debate you,
Okay, no. But SOP. No.
So folks, this is them waves picking up on that, and this is them waves in our what they said segment that we are merging with the big issue. And them waves header in their article was Norton Jagdio set conditions for debate. Opposition leader Aubrey Norton and Vice President Bar Jagdio on Monday night set the conditions for a public debate in a heated but respectful exchange between the two senior political figures. Mr. Jagdio to Mr. Norton, if you bring your SOPs, statement of polls, tomorrow, make them public. The next day, I'll debate you. Mr. Norton to Mr. Jagdio, If you accept the observation reports, I will debate you. Once you allow the observation report, and then the Demwaves report goes on, it is unclear whether the Vice President readily understood to which observation reports Mr. Norton was referring. Mr. Jagger interpreted that to mean the reports by the International Election Observer missions, prompting the opposition leader to accuse him of shifting the goalposts away from Order 60 that had governed the national voted recount. And ladies, over to you.
I can I can start by giving some clarity as to what the observation report is. If I may go down that road.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Right.
Jump in there.
So let me just say at this point in time that I was privileged to be a part of the recount team, and I was a member of the tabulation team, and so I was central to the process. I wasn't in any particular station that was dealing with any particular region. Every single last one of those boxes that were open, all the information and data came to the station that I was at. And I was myself and two other persons, is Darren Adams, current regional chairman, Region 10, and Daniel Siram, current regional chairman, Region 4. The three of us sat as the AP and UAFC representatives in that center. So we were there, and I want to make this point, right? We were there from day one right through to the end. We spent 33 days in total in there, and I have my own records of that. I took I took notes daily. I have my own diary and journal of the train of events, and that specifically, I think I'm going to put it out. Nevertheless, the observation report that Mr. Norton is referring to is the fact that whenever a box was opened, there was a report that had to be written up as to what was in the boxes, what was not in the boxes, and all the irregularities were documented on those reports. From day one, the PPP protested heavily. They did not want that information being brought to the front. Specifically when it comes to tabulation center, that was being live streamed. So persons could have witnessed, you call out the numbers. And from the inception, when the observation report was being read, they stood up in objections. They don't want it to be read because they want persons to say that, oh, well, there were 20 persons voted at this station, 11 for the PPP, yeah, and then 9 for the AP and UAFC, and they didn't want persons to read and say that how these were the observations, missing statutory documents. They didn't want that to be said. They did not want that to be said at any point in time. They want to make sure that persons had this impression that it was all good and graceful on that day, and there was no interference at the level of that station. So that is the observation report that Mr. Norton was referring to, and we have a compilation of those reports over time. And for me personally, the information was startling that was brought out in that process altogether. And I can say that I wish we had gone and opened boxes like crazy prior, because what was found there, it gives clear indications to the Guyana Election Committee what needs to be changed, what needs to be, yes, commission, what needs to be changed, what needs to be strengthened and fixed altogether. And we cannot accept going into another election with the system as is. Least we have those issues in those observation report that Mr. Norton is referring to being brought back to the forefront once again. It is absurd. It's crazy to note the amount of things that went on within those stations. I don't know, some of them, I say that this has to be just plain ignorance of the persons that were in charge of the process to not have these things queued up to make sure, if not blatant fraud. All right, if not blatant fraud, and you have to acknowledge it. So don't come and say, oh, where are your SOPs and where this and where that. You've been making a mess of the country from day one. How dare you just push back everything to where are the SOPs and where is this and where is that? The PV put out some data online. I have to speak about this at this point. I'm sorry for this little piece, but
No, go ahead.
the PP put out information online whilst they were going through whilst the actual recount was happening. They had a website set up and they were putting out their numbers, saying their numbers. And as the process went on, they kept changing the number on the site. And I have the evidence because I made sure I downloaded and I kept a record. They changed this. They keep changing that. Once you call out something, they change it. So you cannot come, but after all of that, and play that you have your ducks in a line, that because that's the impression persons want to give. The system has issues that needs to be fixed, and that is the bottom line, right? Let's not go like this tit for tat sort of nonsense. The system have issue that needs to be fixed, and I say it every single way. I say it at Public Accounts Committee every single Monday. Don't come and say, oh, this happened under you, oh, this happened under you. How do we fix it so it doesn't reoccur, so we are not in this position once again in the future? And that is where we are right now.
It's ridiculous. You know, what occurred to me listening to that exchange? A couple of things. I don't know why Irfan is not the person debating.
My man, so we know.
But that aside, it is apparent to me that Barry Jagdeo cannot win an argument on the issues of governance and how his party is running this country. Let's settle that once and for all. Because if I can point to my governance record to say this is what I have been doing, then it says that I actually have a case. The fact that he can dog whistle back to SOPs, which his, by the way, were dated February 29th, if you recall, says very, very clearly that he is manipulative and that he understands what it takes to gaslight his supporters. Now, a couple of things. He's very disrespectful. He's disrespectful to the court because for you to demand that SOPs be presented is to ignore the fact that the Chief Justice rendered all of those null and void in the process of ordering that recount.
Correct.
So, you see, in his haste to excoriate and to paint other people as riggers, he keeps digging himself into a bigger hole and showing every day who the real riggers were. So, the court set aside those SOPs. If the court says, set them aside, on what basis are you therefore seeking to revive them to support some argument that you want to make? That's the first thing. The second thing is the observation reports that you mentioned. And I want to assess this exchange in particular. You referenced the OAS, the EU, the Carter Center. The OAS, the EU, the Carter Center all made one common observation, that the voters list is severely bloated and needs to be fixed as a matter of urgency. You don't hear him talking about that.
Yeah.
You hear him cherry picking what he wants to support. The man has no interest in governance and in democracy. Let's be very clear about that. The other issue is that what Jagdeo and Ali should be concentrating on, if you want to concentrate on elections, is vindicating their position in the seat of government. For me, I would want to know that if I run a race, that I won it fair and square, and that I ain't pushed down a man. If I'm running 100 meters. So I would say if there's a committee investigate it.
Yeah.
Because if it is, some people have the constitution to say, to hell with Alia, I win this gold medal, I don't care who I had to push to get it.
Yeah.
Talking about quality
Correct.
of character there. I would have been interested in showing the world that I am a legitimate government put there on the basis of valid and credible votes. And you notice he is setting up a catch-22 situation. When he can't have his way, because he can't beat Abinart no day in a debate. He
Come
says,
on, let's be
go
factual.
to the law.
Exactly.
Go to the law. We went to the law, and here you are using every device at your disposal to prevent those cases from being heard. The very thing that will vindicate you and show to the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are sitting in an office based on the true will of the Guyanese people. But no, you are content to sit in office on the basis of 49 ballot boxes of how many votes? Is about how many votes, Joretta? A few tens of thousands of votes, 49 ballot boxes without statutory documents. Where dead people voted, where people who were not in the jurisdiction voted. And mind you, this is not a figment of the AP and UFC's imagination. Claudette Singh wrote to the General Registrar's office and asked them to confirm that these people were dead. and they found death certificates to these people.
Mhm.
She wrote to the general register, to the chief immigration officer, and said, confirm that these people are out of the jurisdiction on this day. And they wrote back confirming. The first order of business of the government was to remove the man who was heading immigration when they got into
Correct.
the seat of government. So
And
Barrett
also the GRO.
Jagdeo, and also the
and
man
the
from
GRO.
GRO.
Yeah.
So Barrett Jagdeo needs to take several seats. He will come with that argument
Mhm.
to people who are not interested in thinking for themselves.
Mhm.
And you know, I made certain statements and I had a problem with it. But I will continue to say that unless we as Guyanese think for ourselves, because we can,
Mhm.
and look at things rationally, we will always be subject to the whims and fancies of manipulative politicians like Barry Jagdeo. He ought to be ashamed of himself. 2 years later, you cannot point out to one governance initiative that you have taken to say, yes, my trust, the Guyanese people's trust in us has been vindicated. You've gone back to SOPs. Shame. Absolutely a shame. When the court itself said, no, those SOPs are of no moment. Recount.
Yeah.
As a matter
Last point, Chair,
Okay.
because,
Sorry.
and people must understand that the recount was a 4-stage process.
Correct.
The last one was to weed out and separate the sheep from the goat. And they refused to do that. And then he accuses Vincent Alexander and them at GCOM of manipulating the process. When the truth is that you have a compliant chairperson, just like you have a compliant Speaker of the House, that votes every time with the 3 PPP thing. And this is, you know why I'm upset? Because I look at that exchange and I say, my God, there's no hope to move Guyana forward. Like, how are we moving this country forward if 2 years on, the vice president of the country could be talking about SOPs? Why aren't we meeting to debate about the plans that you have for development?
The SOPs.
Correct.
Because it shows that there's nothing else to hold on to, and that is the fact. You know, there's nothing else to hold on to, so they go back to that old reframe. Where is the SOPs? Where are the SOPs?
Yeah,
And
I
it
a couple
doesn't
things.
change.
A couple quick things.
Mhm.
On the SOP point, in the petition case, the Chief Justice, I think it was, who ordered the SOPs from GCOM, I think it was, and they're now in the custody of the court, and that's all that matters. Those are the only SOPs that matters. So time and the court has overtaken that,
Precisely.
right? And the only SOPs that matters, right, is the SOPs that are in the possession of the courts from GCOM, right?
Precisely.
That is one. Number two, on the issue of what's happening at GCOM, we had Mr. Alexander as our guest on the podcast yesterday, and he said exactly what Amanda said, that the information that came from the General Registrar's office and from immigration stating that there were dead people on the list as identified, and there were people who were out of jurisdiction who voted miraculously on election day. That information is with GCOM, and they are refusing to do anything with it.
Correct.
The GCOM is refusing to do anything with that. So, you know, let's put that out there too. While we're talking about SOPs and, you know, SORs and all of that. And it's a real crying shame, as Manzi said, when you listen to Jagdeo, he is rebuffed at every turn, and he comes back all the time to, oh, and your SOPs, and your SOPs. But the other thing, there's another portion of that video, believe it or not, where Mr. Norton says to him, where Jagdeo says to Mr. Norton, they were talking about the law, and he says the Representation of People Act dictates how the recount should go. And Norton comes back and says to him, but didn't you sign on Order 60? Right? And Jagdeo now abandons Order 60, goes back to Representation of People Act. And Norton interrupts him. He said, tell me, did you or did you not sign Order 60? Sign to Order 61, and were the provisions in Order 60 carried out? Right? He can't come back from that.
He can't, because there's no coming back from it. What happened is that there was a conspiracy of circumstances that caused the AP and UAFC to be removed from office. The IRI poll bears that out. So this is not just us saying
Oh,
that.
the same poll, they don't see
The same poll.
integrity? Same poll?
and the CARICOM report being alluded to in that exchange, the CARICOM report that observed 18%.
Yes. But you
of
know,
the,
Joretta,
come on.
importantly, Vincent Alexander clarified something, that whilst Claudette Singh had in her possession evidence of the dead people voting and the migrant people voting, she never passed that on to CARICOM.
Of course not.
And so you see very, very clearly, and you know, we're gonna replay that theft of democracy.
We should.
So that people understand very clearly what happened. Now, you may want to say, blame the AFC, there should have been this, there should have done that. Hindsight is always 2020. The question remains, how are we as a population moving forward to ensure that this never happens again?
That is
saying to us, and I made that observation the other day on the program, that the reason the PPPC is going ahead and moving with such impunity is that they know they have GCOM on the wraps and they are setting up the system to rig the elections without the casting of the first vote.
Yeah.
So before you turn up there to vote, the elections results have already been determined if we allow the system to go forward as it is. And if it happens, to quote the Bible, my people would have it so. Because it's up to us to stop it.
Correct.
That's where we are.
Now you like
That's where we are. Keep going.
No, I don't.
Folks, that was it. And this is a discussion that's going to filter into our podcast today, definitely, because we're picking up more and more on the election conversation, what's happening at GCOM and the impending local government election as well, to make sure that you guys are fully aware and fully informed of all the circumstances as they operate. Yep.
Yes. And so, guys, you know, this discussion is going to be very can get very heated when we talk about these things, because like we like to say, and persons can the beauty in everything that is discussed, the information that is given, is things that everyone, you know, K-Shore and everybody that's here could go fact check.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to take it. Don't take, yes. Let's release the comment section as we wrap up this morning's program, because these are things that we definitely need to continue the conversation on, especially when loose comments are being made at that level up until today. You know, when those loose comments are being made, as we saw in that exchange, then we need to pull it up and say, no, stop right there. These are the facts of the matter, you know? So, guys, we continue to say that we bring you the credible information. We make sure that whatever transpired, we bring to you with pure facts. You know, a lot of times, if I'm not sure about something, I would say it is alleged. If I'm not sure about something, these are things that needs to be fact checked. I am saying to you, when it comes to that particular matter, when it comes to observation reports, and so I was there. This is not no secondhand information. I was there in person. It was my responsibility to make sure that those things were scrutinized. And nobody can bring me BS.
You're not giving hearsay.
I'm not giving hearsay.
You're not giving hearsay.
Right?
And you know, I noticed somebody talking in the comments about people going to jail and whatever. It is quite interesting that 2 years on, 2 years
cases
on,
are going to place.
Cases are not being heard.
That are brought very hardly.
So because
quickly.
You know what they know for a
I think
fact,
some people need to start suing some people.
they
You know,
probably need
no, I'm
to.
serious, because I noted, and I just want to make this point as we wrap up. I noted that there's that certain news outlets, one online and one print media, has been using the terminologies. These were key players in the attempt to rig the election. You know, so, and I think those persons should be taken. I think they should be sued altogether,
but
right? Because that is defamation to the highest accord.
And I'm happy that you mentioned that,
just let
because
it go.
rigging is something that has to be proven in a court
Correct.
of law.
Correct.
And the Chief Justice brought this out because it was in who was the name of the Nandlal's driver that brought the case.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah,
that
same
seriously
fella
died.
Yeah, that is what Nandlal was trying to do in that case. He was trying to prove there was rigging, and you know, the Chief Justice asked him if he wanted to proceed. He got the evidence, right? When they brought that motion against that case against the Region 4 returning officer.
Correct.
Yes.
Right? Mingo.
And then subsequently withdrew.
He withdrew the day the Chief Justice was handing down her decision, and she castigated him because she said she asked him several times if he have evidence to
Correct.
prove that Mingo was trying to fiddle with the numbers and so on. He said yes.
You remember that it was on the basis of the undertaking given by Claudette Singh in that case.
That very case.
That the
She had promised the
entire
court.
recount issue
Yeah.
was undertaken.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what you see there is a bunch of people who, did thwart and undermine the will of the people of Guyana. And now they're sitting in the seat of the government, and we're living every day with the reality that elections have results, have consequences, because people can't afford to feed their children. First lady there on the boat having a white party and so on and so forth, while people are in tears in Linden because everything that they have worked for is now lying in rubbles before them. Elections have consequences.
Correct.
Yeah. That's our time, folks.
That's our time.
And I don't think we have to tell you this morning to share, credible, valid information. And that's what we're here for. And don't let anybody tell you guys differently. Unfortunately, we drink water, we mind our business, and we don't run on water. Believe it or not, even though we drink a lot of it. So we encourage you guys to come on board and to partner with us so we can do more informative programs like these. It's because of your love and support. We do FYI, we do Below the Belt, we do In the Ring, and the website is it's out there and providing additional information for you guys and additional context as well. Because of your love and support, we've been able to do all these things. And we encourage you guys to come on board so we can meet our monthly responsibilities in this regard. And you guys know we got Cash App and PayPal and Zelle, MMG. We're available via MoneyGram and Western Union, all for your convenience, of course. And you need further guidance, 627-6963. Thanks, Rita. 627-6963 is the number you want to WhatsApp, and we can give you any guidance you need there. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much,
Have a great
guys.
day,
Have a
guys.
great day. Have an awesome one.
Yeah. Let me help in this regard.